In the West, it would be called pop art. In Ghana, it's just what people do, using brightly coloured, larger-than-life images to advertise their specialty or trade. This garish symbolism has long enriched daily life. Now it's being used to honour the dead. Pa Willie is one of Ghana's leading makers of fantasy coffins. The workshops create everything from giant chicken caskets to man-sized lobsters. Each represents something about the character or profession of the dear departed. Pa Willie has been making fantasy coffins for more than 30 years, trained by a master craftsman who first hit on the idea of representational caskets. There are now 4 large workshops in the capital, Accra, and they're struggling to keep up with demand. Now, you can still get a simple traditional coffin, and many do, but most people who come to these places want to personalise their loved ones. Now, this coffin, in the shape of a shoe, will be the resting place of a former cobbler. Here, a brush to represent an artist, and this plane will celebrate the lifelong achievements of an Air Canada flight attendant, while this will hold the remains of a former Coca-Cola distributor, each with their own distinctive vehicle for that final journey. The coffins have become an important part of funeral rites in coastal villages around Accra. They're dominated by the Ga tribe, who, despite their Christianity, share a strong tradition of animist belief that sees every object as having a soul. It's created a culture that puts special significance in symbols, but it's a practice more conservative Christians are determined to stamp out.
When we talk of a Christian burial, that is the type of burial which ends in the church. I mean, the service is done in the church, and we hardly encourage that kind of coffin in the church. So I think that if we tell our people not to use those things, they will not. And of course, there are so many other factors, but...
Dr. David Poby is a long-time campaigner against fantasy coffins, but he insists it's not the echoes of animism that concern him, it's the extravagant cost.
If in trying to honor the dead, you spend what you don't have, or you even get into debt, then I think there is a problem. And I think that's what's happening today.
Fantasy coffins don't come cheap. Pa Nee runs one of the most popular workshops, making caskets for more than $500, a year's income for his average customer. And that's only a fraction of what they'll spend on the funeral celebrations. Not that he's complaining.
They spend lavishly. They don't care. They don't care about that. What they want is to bury their beloved one. So whatever amount, whatever cost, they don't care. What they want to see is that the fellow is buried. That's all.
His latest creation is for a fellow craftsman, a carpenter named Matthew Azina, who's just died at the age of 78.
So this is a plane?
Yeah, it's a plane. That's a carpenter's plane.
The old man's family has decided to bury him in a giant carpenter's plane. The 2 sons have been following every step of Nee's design.
Very nice.
Yeah.
3 days later, the giant carpenter's plane is put to use, sealing the remains of old Matthew Azina. His son Jacob sees it as the least he could do to celebrate his father's life as a master craftsman. They've spared nothing to make this a memorable farewell. The entire village has turned out for the funeral. Even with friends' donations, the family admits it could take years to pay off. It's profligacy that would make the church's missionary founders turn in their graves.
Previously, the Ga community was not extravagant in that sense at all, because funerals were a very simple matter. And you can imagine in those days there were no facilities for preserving the corpses, so funerals took place very quickly and very little money was spent. And it was a period when people expressed sympathy with the bereaved. I think that is lost now.
But the family insists it's nobody's business but its own.
Our man is saved. Watch out. He's going to enjoy everlasting life.
And the old man is certainly making a stylish exit. In a coffin his family prays will be remembered for generations.
Coming up in today's program, art for the brave in New Zealand, India's art on wheels, and integrating through music in Belgium. But first, Arts World travels to Ghana to get an insider's perspective on the country's art scene.
Hello and welcome to Arts World. My name is Akuya Manfo, but here in Accra, Ghana, I'm known as Black Coffee. I'm a local TV presenter, and let me tell you something about my people, Ghanaians. We love color and we love style. This can be seen in the clothes that we wear and the pieces of art that we create. In fact, it can even be seen in the way that we celebrate our funerals.
These coffins have become a unique art form in Ghana, and there's something for everyone. Your choice of coffin is tailor-made to take you to a better life. So, if you didn't get it right the first time round, then here's your second chance. Eric Kpakpo has been a carpenter for several years.
I'm really enjoy. If you are not appreciating what you are doing, no one will enjoy you. More people come asking about it. It shows that people are more interested.
There was a Ga man who was a carpenter, and I guess he just thought this was a creative, interesting thing to do, and it caught on. And so people would come to Accra. It became part of the tourist scene. The original guy who started died in the 1990s, but his children have kept it up.
It tells a story. That is our culture as a Ghanaian. No matter our forefathers thought, whatever you are doing in life, when you die, you still continue now the next journey.
If you were an important carpenter, if you are an important teacher, then one of the ways we show respect and honor and gratitude to you for your work as a teacher is to bury you in a pen.
Ni Soa's father is being buried next week. He came from a long line of carpenters, so the family decided a carpentry tool was the obvious choice.
I chose this saw because it comes from a long tradition of carpenters. It's a way to honor and respect him.
Well, I think it's to honor the living because the way in which a funeral is done shows the caliber of the people who are living. If it's poorly done, it means that they didn't think much of you, the person who died. And if it's well done, it means they thought very highly of you, and therefore they went to all the lengths to ensure that your funeral was one that you deserved. It looked good. Although many Ghanaians today don't necessarily believe in the afterlife in that sense, immediately you die, you are going to a second world. We still believe in the importance of sending you off in a grand fashion. When it comes to funeral cloth, that we can say is truly Ghanaian. Colors are important in Ghana. You do blues and whites for happy occasions, and you do browns, reds, and blacks for funerals. It's about honoring and respecting the dead as a way of showing gratitude to that person for what he did for his community whilst he was alive.
In the Octopi clan, when someone dies, we wear red, like this one. So yesterday, when we buried him, we wore red. The old man has lived to a good age, and we are happy the Lord has come to call him and didn't let him suffer too much.
Some families are choosing to do black and white if the person is old. So say a patriarch dies at 90, he's lived life well, his children are successful, then they are mourning him, but they are also happy for a life well led. And so the way that they show that is to combine the black with the white. Funerals mean very different things to other West Africans. Nigerians, for example, who are fairly ostentatious, think our funerals are elaborate and ridiculous. So there's something about the ways in which Ghanaians appreciate funerals that allows us to incorporate these coffin arts into our funeral ceremonies quite comfortably.
The reason why sometimes I feel sad is, and I'm seeing after doing all these things, then they put in the ground.
While the families pay their last respects, Eric gets busy with his next commission. It's his favorite model, a Mercedes-Benz, a car to dream of in life or death.
Walking along Tema Road, the main high street of the suburb of Teshi in the eastern Accra city, a glance of such showroom strategically set along the street leaves the stranger wondering why anyone would want to exhibit an aeroplane, a cow, a lion, a big fish, a cocoa pond, a truck, and many others. But this is a coffin showroom. Coffin is designed and crafted in different shapes, ready for sale to transport the dead to their journey in the afterlife. Danny Aubry is the manager of Hero Design Coffins in Teshi Trading Center.
Then we make some coffins here, the design coffins. We have truck coffins, lions, and different cock and cocoa and everything. Then any type you want as a coffin, you can choose to make for you.
These coffins are designed to represent an aspect of the dead person's life, such as a car if one was a driver. Farmers tend to choose to be buried in coffins designed in the shapes of agricultural products. A cattle keeper could go for a cow, and a cocoa grower for cocoa pond. Fisherman's likely choice is fish. Other professions are catered for here, pilots and even journalists with cameras. According to Aubry, the designed coffins are more expensive than the ordinary ones. The costs range from $500 to $1,000 depending on the make and the quality of wood used. Aubrey discloses that the market for these magnificent coffins has gone beyond Ghana. He also explains that the local market for these coffins depends on where the business is located, making it difficult to single out which coffin is more on demand than the other.
We have some like a season, sometimes about 1 month. There are 4 people who come and order a cocoa or a Benz car or a canoe, any type. But I can't say this coffin is the most popular in this Ghana. Yeah.
Aubrey is now supervising his workers on 2 orders he has received in the period of 1 week. One is to make a carpenter's plane for a carpenter who has just passed away in a neighboring village. Another one in form of a Volkswagen car the deceased liked and used to drive this type of car. But how long does it take you to design such a coffin?
It depends the person he come and order the thing. He can tell you I'll need 2 weeks or 1 week or 3 weeks. Yeah.
36-year-old Aubrey says that he inherited this business from his father and he has been doing it since his childhood. The tradition of designing coffins is predominantly among the Ga tribe in coastal Ghana and dates way back to 50 years ago. This is the burial ceremony of a 90-year-old Muzeini Adama in Gebese village in southern Accra. Muzei Adama was the chief fishmonger in the village. In his will, he indicated that when he died, he was to be buried in a coffin shaped like a lobster. This is an edible sea creature with a hard shell, a long body divided in 2 sections. He had specialized in fishing this type of fish for years. Besides, it has been his delicacy, so it was obvious for him to choose this type. For these people in the coastal area of Ghana, funerals are not only a time of mourning but also celebrations. They believe that when their loved ones die, they continue living in their afterlife. So when there is a funeral, it's done in style. In accordance with Muzei Adama's will, his body is moved from one home to another, especially homes he used to visit while still alive. Elders he used to share drinks with sprinkle the local gin on the coffin as a sign of bidding farewell. This is like paying last respect to the deceased. He has been an elder like us, so we wish his soul to rest in eternal peace. The village cemetery is about 2 kilometers away from the deceased's home, but people walk, dance and sing all the way. At the burial site, the funeral rituals are performed. They include putting soil and sprinkling alcohol in the grave before covering it. After spending so much time into creating this fancy coffin, it's trimmed to fit the size of the grave before it's hidden underground. But this only takes place after every detail contained in the deceased's will has been fulfilled.
These people are left convinced that Muzeini Adama's life after death will be a peaceful one. Reporting for WBS, Tumekwase Francis, BBSA, Accra, Ghana.
Entrepreneurship is thriving in Ghana, so much so that you can take what you do for a living right to the grave. Whether you're a fisherman, a cocoa farmer, or a pilot, there's an option for everyone. Fantasy coffins are a fairly recent art form emerging out of Ghana and are testament to the creative flair and the sense of humor you'll find throughout the country. They go for between $1,200 and $1,500 and have already developed an international market.
Yeah, we have international orders, some from US, Denmark, Australia, South Africa. Some people from outside country, the Africa people, to come and order.
So what would be the design for a television producer and a cameraman?
Oh, if you like, I can make a TV for you. If you did, I can make a TV for you. If you like a cameraman is there, you can use the camera coffin for him. Everything is like your professional work.
As you can see, everything about doing business in Ghana is absolutely unique, from start to finish.
Tonight, Mike reports from the city of Accra, the capital of Ghana, in West Africa.
The streets of this capital are hot and crowded. And for the most part, people here pay little attention to a foreigner. They're too preoccupied trying to earn a living. Ghana is one of Africa's promising new democracies. Poor, but enterprising, so many people have something to sell. The sidewalk is a convenience store. In this, of all places, I ran into an art student from Beverly, Massachusetts. Christina Hampton is researching her thesis, the topic, fantasy coffins. That's what they call them here. In Ghana, you can be buried in anything, from a tuna fish, to an elephant, to a sandal.
Since I'm an art therapy major, I'm trying to find a focus on how fantasy coffins, them being made so artistically, is therapeutic almost for the mourning families.
Christina took me to a funeral that looked more like a rock concert. 57-year-old Daniel Teddy, who died of malaria, was a merchant sailor. His coffin, a 7-foot-long cargo ship. Whether you're a farmer who wants to be buried inside a giant turkey or an executive inside a fancy shoe, these coffins have become a symbol here in Ghana of the kind of life led by the deceased, his or her status in society. It's all about making the journey to the next life in style. The list goes on and on. Airplanes, cocoa beans, Bibles, peppers, lobsters, lions, beer bottles, even a replica of your own store. It's a huge industry here and expensive. A coffin can cost $400, 1 year's salary. Christina has made a guitar coffin and hopes it will be used someday by a music fan.
It doesn't matter how you fit the person inside or how comfortable. If you could curl them up in a ball, any way you can make the people fit.
Mr. Teddy, the merchant sailor, was carried away in his cargo ship, floating on a sea of friends and loved ones. At the gravesite, Christina Hampton said she wished she could phone home to describe it all. But the nearest cell phone was already spoken for. Mike Lee, ABC News, Accra, Ghana.
So William, how long have you been making coffins?
Well, since I graduated, almost 6 years now, I think since I started this work over here in this town.
Why do people choose to take these themes for their coffins?
Well, in Ghana here, there are different tribes and different culture. So what normally happens is that if an individual passed away, for instance, if the person is a farmer, sometimes they prefer something like this cocoa. They use cocoa for a cocoa farmer. And it's something like this taxi is for a taxi driver. Yeah, so they prefer using the kind of work the person is doing. If they can get a coffin in such form, it shows some kind of gratitude.
Towards their work?
Yes, towards the kind of work the person did before that individual passed away.
How many different types have you made?
The coffins I've made many different types of coffins. We have the local ones like this type, for instance, and we have the proverbial ones like animals, cocoa, cars, different, any kind of work at all you do it in this life. If come, I can do it for you. This is a palm knot. Palm knot.
Ah.
The person who passed away is coming from this party, NDC, National Democratic Congress. So this is their sign.
Was this for a chief?
No, this is for a poultry farmer. If it was a chief, normally they order the kind of coffin, the symbol they use in the clan, in their clan. Because in Ghana here, there are different kinds of clans and they have different symbols. Some use antelope as their symbol, and some use elephant as their family symbol, and some use lion and some gun.
Went over and had a look at the pen that you're making. Who is that for?
The pen is for a secretary and also for teachers. But this one I'm doing now is for a secretary. A certain man is a secretary in a society and he has passed away.
So is it generally the family that pick the coffins for the family member that's died, or is it the family member that pick the coffin?
Yes, sometimes the family members and the society that the person in will sit together. If they agree that this is the kind of coffin we want to use to bury this individual, then they will give the access to those in the society or either the family members to choose. Sometimes the family members will stand against the kind of coffin if the society is bringing, because they cherish the corpse. In Ghana here, many people cherish corpse more than even those who are in life. And so if the person passed away, the family of the deceased and also the society in which he is in will sit together, and then they will agree on how to arrange the whole funeral. Well, actually, this type of coffins are the most simplest one because they are not difficult in molding them. But something like this gun, it takes time before we can mold it. Not that alone, the sheep also, sometimes I have to go to the net and then I'll look at the different types of sheep and I'll print them, and then I will just come and look at the picture, then I'll work on it.
How long would it take to make a coffin like the ship?
Well, this one, for instance, the simple one takes just a single day. Sometimes I can make 2 in one day. But this type, I do it sometimes 1 day in molding the skeleton. Only the skeleton. Now, it takes me 1 day to mold it, but because of the sandpaper works and some things we have to do, roughly 3 days, 4 days, we finish the whole coffin. And with the help of God too, sometimes I go to sleep and I have dreams about some things we've not done already. And so when the dream comes, I will just wake up and then be pondering over it. And if I come to shop, I'll just be meditating on it, and then I'll buy a board and start everything and start working on it. And through that, I became successful.
William, that's fantastic. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Very impressive.
make these elaborate tombs anymore, but they make, for example, elaborate mansions, and then they burn them, sacrifice them for the dead, for what we think of as luxury in modern terms. Funerary art and tradition tell us what's important to the people of their times.
Fantasy coffins are coffins that are produced in southern Ghana.
This coffin style was started by a man called Kanekwe about 75 years ago.
These coffins are made in very elaborate forms that are meaningful to the deceased and the deceased's life. The person's achievements in life, the person's status in society.
I'm standing next to a lobster. This is a symbol of a fisherman who was expert in catching lobsters. Some businessmen who are successful, they decide to go with sometimes Mercedes-Benz. Only the Ga tribe of Ghana practice this coffin style. Most of the people, they belong to a church, but the church doesn't allow, they consider these fetish practices. So some people can either have this and then have the regular coffin. So they go and do their church prayers and everything, and then they bring them back home and then transfer them into their favorite onion or pepper coffin. Because as far as they're concerned, the dead is still carrying on what he or she loves best or did in lifetime, and he obviously taking it with them to afterlife.
It's this idea of kind of really celebrating a life and making it a big deal, a big visual event.
After all, if you die, it shouldn't be just sorrow and crying. We should think of some positive side of death, you know, because after all, the flesh is just that's dead, but the soul goes on somewhere else. So we should kind of celebrate the dead instead of just sorrow all the time. Yes.
You are welcome to buy those carpentry work. Our work here is carpentry work in general. However, we have specialized in these design coffins. Now, we have got two types of coffins. One that we bury inside here. And because we bury people inside, we use ordinary wood to make the coffins. Now, the ones that we export, we use hardwood to manufacture the coffin. Because we know the moment it leaves here, it's going to a gallery or a museum. Now, the ordinary coffin will cost you about 3 million. And then the ones that we export or people come to buy to America, Europe, and elsewhere will cost you about $1,000 or $1,200 or above.
Dort hat Emanuel sein Leben verbracht. Jahrelang hat er rund um Accra Händler und Waren von einem Markt zum anderen gefahren. Jetzt soll er auch seine letzte Reise in seinem Truck der Marke Bedford antreten. Innen gut gepolstert und außen mit allem Drum und Dran. Der Bruder des Verstorbenen schaut in der Werkstatt vorbei. Mit einem Freund inspiziert er die detailgetreue Arbeit. $900 lässt John Okai sich das Modell kosten. Viel Geld in Ghana. Aber er sei Schiffskapitän, sagt John. Da würde man von ihm schon etwas Angemessenes erwarten. Man sagt, wenn jemand aus dem Leben scheidet, erweist man ihm die letzte Ehre. Was auch immer man jetzt noch für ihn tut, man tut es zum unwiderruflich letzten Mal. Und diese letzte Ehrerbietung, die soll dann auch jeder sehen. Deshalb wird überall am Rande von Ghanas Hauptstadt gesägt, gehobelt und gehämmert. Hier in der Gegend haben die bunten Themensärge schon seit ein paar Jahrzehnten Konjunktur. Weil der Atlantik vor der Haustür liegt, sind Fische und Krabben als hölzerne Höhlen besonders beliebt. Und damit habe auch alles angefangen, weiß Sargschreiner Ernest zu berichten. Da war mal ein Fischer, ein ziemlich reicher, dessen Familie hatte beschlossen, ihn besonders standesgemäß zu begraben. Als die Leute damals den Fischsarg gesehen haben, ist die Idee rasch aufgegriffen worden und bald gab es hier die verschiedensten Modelle. Seither lässt sich der Armeeoffizier schon mal im Maschinengewehr begraben, der Möchtegern-Millionär im Mercedes, der Fußballer im Sportschuh und der bekennende Trinker in der Bierflasche. Unterdessen ist John Okay rundum zufrieden mit dem Sarg seines Bruders, an dem auch die letzte Aufschrift dem Original nachempfunden ist. Ich glaube, dass mein Bruder in diesem Auto geradewegs in den Himmel fahren wird. Es ist einfach toll. Schauen Sie sich nur mal die Windschutzscheibe an. Da gibt es sogar einen Wischer. Falls es auf dem Weg in die Ewigkeit regnen sollte, dann kann er den Scheibenwischer anstellen. Ahnungsvolle Worte aber, am Beerdigungsmorgen scheint Gottlob die Sonne. Noch. Der Bedford-Sarg wird angeliefert und ausgepackt und er ist rasch Gegenstand kritischer Diskussionen bei den Familienoberhäuptern. Captain John fällt ein Stein vom Herzen, als die allseitige Begutachtung am Ende wohlwollend ausgeht. Wenn man mit einem Sarg ankommt, der unter dem Status der Familie ist, würde der glatt zurückgewiesen. Die Ältesten würden sofort loslaufen und einen besseren kaufen. In irgendeiner Schreinerei, binnen einer Stunde wäre das erledigt. Und ich wäre restlos blamiert. Und dann braucht Emanuel ihn doch noch, den Scheibenwischer, als er in seinem Bedford zum Abschiedsgottesdienst getragen wird. Die christliche Trauergemeinde lässt sich das Singen allerdings nicht verdrießen. Beerdigungen sind in Ghana die größten Familienereignisse. 3 Tage wird man erst trauern und dann feiern, auch wenn der Himmel seine Schleusen immer weiter öffnet. Der Tropenguss flutet nicht nur das Festzelt. Auch der anschließende Weg zum Friedhof ist für die Trauernden nur noch barfuß zu bewältigen. In einer kurzen Regenpause werden sie in die Grube gehievt. Emanuel, der Lastwagenfahrer, und sein alter Bedford-Truck. Sie ist zu Ende, Emanuel Okais letzte Fahrt, oder nimmt sie gerade ihren Anfang? Aber das weiß nur einer. Der gute Vater dort oben, in dessen Namen Emanuel schon zu Lebzeiten auf Ghanas Straßen unterwegs war.